Welcome to the 2015-16 registration video. This is going to take you through basically the nuts and bolts of getting your students ready to register for classes next year. Again, we're doing this a little bit different this year. Trying to use a video format to get information out to people, and then admin and counselors will be available next Wednesday morning to answer questions and things like that. So hopefully this will answer about 99% of the questions. If you have a question, feel free to stop by and see us in the large lecture hall next Wednesday. Our registration timeline is very similar to that of last year. We're going to use the ramp class on January 21st to make sure that students get basically an overview of the registration process. During that time, you'll make sure that your students are able to access the online registration. They understand how to put classes in, and give them a brief overview of the requirements for their grade level the following year. We are going to open online registration during parent-teacher conferences on January 22nd. The registration window will close on Tuesday, February 3rd. And then all of the registration worksheets will be required back to you, their ramp teacher or academic support teacher, on February 4th. That gives students about 2 weeks from the time we open the window to close the window to register and get those registration worksheets back to their ramp or academic support teachers. We would like teachers to get those registration worksheets back to Kim Chambers in the third floor office by Friday, February 6th at the latest, and then our counselors will take it from there on cleaning up students that have under-registered or haven't registered yet. Please take some time over the next week before January 21st to familiarize yourself with the registration webpage. Since we have redone our webpage, it is in a different location. Go to the FHS website, click on Office, and then underneath Office you can select Counseling Office, and that will take you right to their registration webpage. On there's a registration guide. Did want to let you know that the registration guide is also on students' iPads. So that's another place that you can reference it. It's also on your iPad. It would be a good idea just to kind of page through the first 5 or 6 pages of that as well to kind of familiarize yourself in terms of some of the requirements and some of the questions that you might get asked. You can also, when you work with your students on this PowerPoint, you can click right on this, and that will again take you to that registration page so that you can walk the kids through where to find the registration guide, where to find the extra registration worksheets, and then the link to open up the online registration. Some important areas of the registration guide we want you to highlight with your students are going to be, first off, the review of the graduation requirements, especially if you have current 10th or 11th graders. We want you to spend a little extra time with those students. Students ought to be able to pull up an Infant Campus, the classes that they've taken, and they can start to make sure that they're meeting the requirements not only in their core classes, but also in their elective classes. If you have 11th graders, this would be a good opportunity to pull out their post-secondary plan that they've been working on in RAMP and start to look at some of the colleges that they have put on and in that post-secondary plan, and start to look at some of those entrance guidelines to see that they're meeting those, and if they're not, some things they may have to put in their schedule to do that. We do have numerous kids that start to look at college credit options, not only within FHS, but also outside of our building. So page 10 does a really nice job of kind of outlining those options, whether it's AP, college in a school, or post-secondary enrollment. And then again, we have our course selection grid for our main core areas and then our elective courses as well. Even though we've gone paperless in lots of areas in our building, we still do collect a hard copy of the registration worksheet from each student. This is kind of a backup, so if something were to happen with our online registration system, or in some cases we need to pull kids from certain classes or certain classes don't run, this gives us the ability to make sure that we are giving kids alternatives that they choose. So what we need from you is to make sure that when students hand in their registration worksheet from you, that they have 15 required classes X, those are the ones that they want to take next year, and then they have 6 alternatives that are circled. The circled ones are, again, those ones that we're going to go into if we need to pull a kid out of another class for any given reasons. We do want students to bring the worksheet back with a parent signature on it. We're going to take their word for it. If it's signed, we're not going to get into a debate on whether or not it's it's their parent's signature or not. If it's not signed, please give it back to the student and have them take it home and sign it. And then finally, when students come to you and say that they have registered online, we want you to physically check that. Students can pull up Infinite Campus on their iPad, and they can again show you that they have registered for 15 classes for the following year. The one thing you want to make sure is that they have not put in those 6 alternate classes into campus. They should only have 15 classes. So if you see 21 classes in campus, have a conversation with them, make sure that they go back in, pull out those alternative classes so that they only have 15. So you're going to see 21 on the worksheet, but you're only going to see 15 on campus. This page is a quick overview if you have current 9th graders, so kids that are going to be sophomores. So if you have 9th graders, this is the information that you need to share with them. So they need 2 English credits, they need 2 social studies credits, 2 science credits, and 2 math credits. A lot of times kids may have questions about their math sequence. The easiest thing to do is just have them talk to their math teacher, and their math teacher can help them with that sequence. Again, most of our 9th graders, 10th graders to be are also going to take health and a 10th grade PE. With our band kids and some of our AP kids, these may not fit in, and that's okay. We can get those in the 11th or 12th grade year as well. So if they don't have room for those, we just need to make sure that we keep track of that and get them in at a later date. Junior years, so these would be the courses you're going to talk to 10th graders about for their junior year. Pretty straightforward again. We needed them to take 2 English credits, 2 history credits. In some cases, they may end up taking 3 science credits, but they need to take at least a chemistry and earth science. They can get their chemistry requirement a couple of different ways. A majority of kids, college-bound kids, 4-year college kids are going to look at taking chemistry A and B. Students that may not feel like they're strong in chemistry might be looking at a 2-year college or maybe going into some other certificate program, can get their chemistry by taking Intro to Chemistry. And then again, they're going to take 2 credits of math as well. And again, same thing as with our 9th graders to be 10th graders. If they're not sure about what classes they can take, they should just talk to their math teacher and they'll help them get registered for that. And then finally, the required courses for our senior year. So if you have 11th graders, these are the classes you're going to talk to them about. They have to take 2 English electives, and that's a minimum of 2. So whether or not they've taken some of these English classes before, they still have to take 2. Same thing with social studies. They have to take 2 social studies electives. We did have some juniors that for different reasons took economics last year. Whether or not they took economics, they still need to take 2 social studies classes, okay? So if they took economics as a junior, they're still going to have to take 2 social studies electives their senior year. So that taking that as a junior really doesn't get them out of anything other than a requirement. Science is optional. There is no science requirement, but we do strongly urge our 4-year college-bound kids to take one of 2 of our physics classes, either St. Cloud State or advanced physics. And again, kids could take chemistry and some different things as well if they didn't the previous year. And then math, again, is optional, but we're strongly encouraging all of our students to take a math class, at least 1 or 2, and there's lots of different options that they can take. Again, the person that would give them the best information for that would be their math teacher. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully it gave you a majority of the information that you need to provide your students in RAMP next Wednesday. As we've talked about quite frequently, this registration process is probably one of the biggest administrative processes that we have. The better our students register for classes, the better schedule we can build and make it the best thing for everybody. So again, I appreciate it and the counselors appreciate all the extra work that you put in. We'll be available next Wednesday if you have any questions. And as always, feel free to stop by my office or talk to one of the counselors if that doesn't work. Thanks.